So who is eligible to apply for a sponsor licence? All organisations in the UK are eligible, but they must prove that they are genuine and an operating or trading organisation. So as soon as you're incorporated as a business, you'd be considered to be operating and trading in the UK. You must also allocate key personnel to the licence. So for example, you must have in place an authorising officer, and that's the most senior person responsible for the recruitment and management of migrant workers within the UK for your licence. A key contact, and they will govern the relationship between you and the Home Office, and then a level 1 user. A level 1 user basically manages the sponsor licence day to day. The licence is managed via what's called a sponsor management system online, and those individuals would have login accounts and would be allowed access to the sponsor management system. There's also another person called a level 2 user, and the person applying for the licence on behalf of the business can be all of these things. You may not get your licence if you or anybody involved in the sponsorship has any unspent criminal convictions, have any debt or bankruptcy orders, or have previously been involved in the sponsorship of an organisation where the licence has been revoked. I think the key point to take home here is that the people who are going to manage your licence must be properly spoken to about their history and work so that that doesn't impact on your ability to obtain a licence. In order to obtain a licence, you must be a suitable sponsor. So you must have good systems in place in order to show that you can manage migrant workers on a day-to-day basis. This is really simple things like having a good absence management process in place, good recruitment policies, a right to work check policy, up-to-date employment contracts, etc. The way that we help our clients is we operate a spring clean system. So if you are applying for a licence, you can simply look at your processes in place at the moment and figure out what needs fixing before you make the application. You must be able to offer genuine employment also. So for example, if you're a small business and you pay only around a few employees the national minimum wage, and then you're seeking to obtain a sponsor licence to sponsor a worker who is a high value worker earning a large amount of money, the Home Office may become suspicious about this and not allow you to proceed with your licence. So it needs to be genuine and a clear logical business reason. Why does this matter? Well, ultimately the Home Office wants to know that you are honest and reliable, that you've got genuine work to offer, and be aware they may check. A key point to note is that the sponsor management system, the sponsor system, is there to ultimately mean that you are responsible for complying with the immigration rules in the UK. The Home Office will indeed come down on you like a ton of bricks if you can't manage that licence. So with great power comes great responsibility. Applying for the sponsor licence is an online application that takes about half an hour to complete. But it's very important that you send the supporting documentation afterwards, and you'll be asked to send that within about 5 working days of submitting the application. Generally speaking, if you are a public body or listed with the stock exchange, then you will be able to be checked via online checks. However, most employers will need to provide some evidence. So for example, this could include the employer's liability, insurance certificate, VAT or PAYE, registration certificates, company tax returns, and accounts. One thing to look out for is a lot of businesses don't actually have these documents in hard copy anymore and do have them in PDF saved on their systems. Unfortunately, the Home Office doesn't accept a printout of a PDF as an original, so there are some fairly pragmatic things that you have to do to demonstrate that you have this information. So for example, you'd have to go to a lawyer and get it certified. These are the kind of hoops you have to jump through that can catch you short. So it's very important to try to plan ahead, be organised, gather all the information firsthand, and then make the application together. When you are applying, you need to set out your business case for the licence in the application, and there's a very detailed list of information and evidence that's required in support of it. I'll come on to talk about the particular types of visas that you do need to have, but you have to have these in mind when you apply for the licence, because you'll need to know how many what's called certificate of sponsorships you'll require. And as you'll remember from just a moment ago, you need the certificate of sponsorship to sponsor the migrant worker. It can take up to 8 weeks to apply for a licence, and it can cost up to about £1,500 depending on how big your business is. It's very important to try and get it right first time, largely because if you don't, it takes 6 months to apply for the licence again, unless there's some sort of administrative reason why it was refused. So planning ahead is really crucial. Try and understand what your business might need in the next 6 to 12 months and make your application based on those requirements. Once you've received your sponsor licence, you then have to manage it. So you will get, in practical terms, you'll get an email with a password to give you access to the sponsored management system.